Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the all-new 2023 Ford Super Duty. Before getting the video though, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. With that being said, let's get right into the video. So for 2023, we're going to have what Ford will probably call a redesign, but it'll pretty much be what you would consider a heavy refresh for the Super Duty. So first off, from an exterior styling perspective, we are getting some style cues from the new F-150, but then also from the new Ford Ranger, believe it or not. So we've got these giant C-shaped lights on the front end for the new Super Duty, and it definitely looks very distinctive and a lot different from the prior Super Duty because they're kind of more like rounded off versus like really sharp edges like what you have on the current Super Duty. And then also we're going to get new stylized taillights. They're going to be similar to what you have with the F-150 with some slight tweaks to kind of make them look a little bit more custom for the Super Duty. Ford always does that with their trucks just so that there's a bigger distinction between, the half-ton and the heavy-duty trucks. Now, aside from that, the rest of the exterior is pretty much going to remain unchanged, and that's why I think this is going to be considered more of a heavy refresh rather than a full redesign. And so a lot of the bodywork on the side of the truck is going to look pretty much identical to the current Super Duty. There have been several Super Duties spotted out in the world, dualies and regular single rear wheel trucks as well that pretty much look identical from a side perspective. It's just mainly the front and the rear that look a little bit different. And so basically expect different headlights, taillights, different front grille as well, and maybe we'll have some different badges and everything on the back of the truck compared to what you have with the current Super Duty. And then on top of that, we will have more exterior packages for the truck similar to the new Ford F-150 half-ton. So like we have the new black appearance package for the half-tons, for example, where you can black out a Platinum or an XLT or a Lariat and so on and so forth. That is going to carry over to the new Super Duty as well. And we're going to have a carryover of all of the packages from the current lineups. So stuff like your, XLT, King Ranch, Lariat, Platinum, Tremor, so on and so forth. The bigger changes, though, are going to happen to the interior with the Super Duty. So what we're going to have with the interior is it's going to be completely overhauled to look similar to the new half-ton interior. So we're going to get new seats, new kind of like door panel setup basically with the Super Duty. So it's going to be a lot nicer looking than what you currently have. For example, with the current Super Duty, in most of the trucks other than the Limited, because the Limited has like a really nice rear door panel, but basically with most of the trucks, the rear door panel looks like super sparse, even in higher end packages. And then when you go to the front, it looks a lot nicer. Whereas with the half-tons, right, it's really nice in the front and in the rear. They're going to kind of do the same thing with the new Super Duty. So if you get a Lariat, your front door panel and your rear door panel are going to look just as nice as each other. And again, front and rear seats are also going to look just as nice as each other. On top of that, we're still going to have the same 12-inch display that they already put in the Super Duty for the 2022 model year. That was one of the changes they made for 2022 to kind of tide people over until they do this heavy refresh. So we're still going to have the horizontal display. There has been some talk of Ford putting in the vertical display that's in the Lightning. Hopefully they don't do that. I think that would be a mistake because, well, nobody likes it. Everyone likes the horizontal display. I don't understand why Ford has so many different infotainment systems. It's strange, frankly. On top of that, higher end packages will have the full digital gauge cluster. So like Lariat and above will have the full digital gauge cluster just like the half-ton. So they're just going to carry that over. That's not too difficult, frankly. But if you want analog, XLT, for example, will still have the analog gauge cluster as standard. And then, in terms of the, of course, there's a fly. In terms of the interior features with the Super Duty, they're pretty much going to be identical to what you have with the half-ton, it sounds like. And so you're going to have the workbench center console setup that they're going to add to the Super Duty. However, you're probably not going to have a fold-down shifter. It sounds like they're still going to keep the column shifter. They're not going to go for a center console shifter with a Super Duty, which kind of makes sense because it seems like most truck makers stick with that with their heavy duty trucks because, well, people that drive heavy duty trucks want to, I don't know, they want the column shifter, they want the space in the center console area too. But at least we'll get that workbench, and then also the like full reclining seats in the half ton. It sounds like they're going to transfer those over into the Super Duty as well. And so basically all those half ton features in the Super Duty. Now some big features that I haven't mentioned yet are Blue Cruise. It sounds like the Super Duty is going to get Blue Cruise, which is really cool. And then also the onboard scales that are currently available in the Lightning are going to be transferred into the Super Duty, which is going to be amazing from a practicality standpoint, so that you don't, go over your max payload, because a lot of people end up doing that with these trucks because, they get a big trailer and then they start loading up the bed and then they start loading up the truck with people, and next thing you know, they are way over what the truck should be from a payload perspective. And so this will kind of help people not do that. So I think that's really cool and really practical to put in a heavy duty truck like that. And I think that Ram and Chevy will probably have to follow suit after Ford implements this. I guess Ford is first yet again. Now moving on from that to the powertrains, this is where things get interesting. So because of emissions being different with heavy duty trucks versus light duty trucks, Ford doesn't really have to change all that much from a powertrain perspective. So we're still going to have a V8. So I believe we're still going to have the Godzilla V8 that you're going to be able to get as an option, even though it doesn't seem like there's that many of those sold. It's still going to be an option with the truck. And then on top of that, we're still going to have the Power Stroke diesel, which in current form puts up 475 horsepower and then 1,050 pound-feet of torque. Ram obviously beat Ford's torque figure with the new Cummins because they now have 1,075 pound-feet of torque with the current version of the Cummins. And so Ford will most likely just juice things up with the Power Stroke a little bit to beat it. Or there has been some rumors, this isn't confirmed yet, that Ford might beat Ram by just doing a hybrid system as an available option with the Super Duty. So basically keeping the power figures the same for the base Power Stroke, the 475 horsepower, 1,050 pound-feet of torque, and then offering like a basically power boost, but for the Super Duty, so a super boost. Maybe that's actually a good name. That's what Ford if you're watching this, I expect to be paid in royalties of, I don't know how much money that would be more, but Super Boost. That's what they should call it instead of Power Boost like in the F-150. But anyways, if you look at the F-150, the Power Boost powertrain adds 30 horsepower to the EcoBoost, and then it adds, so it's 500 pound-feet of torque, 570, so it's 70 torque, 70 pound-feet of torque. So if you transfer that over to the Super Duty, if they just do the exact same setup, right? They just throw on that hybrid system and then we get 30 more horsepower and then we get 70 pound-feet of torque more, then we're looking at 475 plus, I cannot do math right now, so 505 for the horsepower. That's crazy. In a heavy-duty truck, 505 horsepower. And then in terms of the torque, 1,057, 1,120 pound-feet of torque. That is just monstrous, and that would obviously beat Ram's figure, and that would make it also beat every other truck from a horsepower perspective with a Super Duty, just like mind-blowingly, like by a mind-blowing amount, because the closest truck to horsepower with Ford right now is the Silverado or the GMC, and those are what, 445 horsepower, and then they don't have anywhere near as much torque. There's 910 pound-feet of torque. So yeah, pretty exciting stuff coming from Ford. Let me know what you guys think about the new Super Duty if you are planning on getting it. And I guess last thing would be the release on the truck. I'm guessing that we're going to get like an official announcement towards the end of this year, and then customer deliveries are probably, with everything getting pushed back as much as it has been, probably going to happen sometime next year. And so we're going to have a pretty big gap between these trucks coming out and the cutoff for 2022s. And so I think, and again, this isn't confirmed, but I think Ford's going to do a similar thing to what Chevy did with the rollout of their new half tons, where we're going to have like a limited Super Duty for 23. So basically, they're going to sell the old body style for the first half of the 23 model year while they're rolling out the new trucks. And then for the second half of the 23 model year, then they'll be selling the new body style trucks, similar to what Chevy did with the Silverado half ton for the 2022 model year. See you guys.